It is episode 9 of Science Chronicles live on Science Journalism Ghana. I am Jessica Ahedo. We say Science Chronicles is a captivating weekly science show that takes you through the journey of fascinating world of science, and is hosted by, of course, Science Journalism Ghana. And we look at each episode look at topics that has to do with wonders and explores the various specific science topics ranging from breakthroughs, nature, STEM, that is engineering, mathematics, physics, and what have you. And so we say, why not you join us as we delve into the realm of knowledge so we can appreciate and understand the world around us. Today, we are having a conversation about utilizing science, innovations, and technologies for development. And I have here with me a gentleman who will help me delve into this topic for today. I have here in the person of Mr. Joshua Opoku Ajiman, and he called himself STEM evangelist. The first time I heard STEM evangelist, I was like, okay, so we are having an evangelism in other areas of professions. So maybe I should also call myself journalism evangelist. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much,
Mr. Opoku Ajiman.
That's right.
Okay, so when we are talking about innovations, technology for development, what really are we talking about?
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. So when we talk about technology innovation for development, we're looking at the tools, processes that can aid in economic development, either in societal, environmental, or economy in the growth. We have three keywords here: technology. And as we all know that we are living in a technological revolution where now everything is becoming technological. These are tools that enable us to do our work faster, efficient, and productive. How do we use these tools and a very innovative processes to help develop our industries? So I guess that's what we're looking at today. So when you put all together, then you're looking at harnessing the tools we have in our generation, because technology has evolved. If you look at even our mobile communication industry, it started with space to space, to telephone, to young phones, to smartphones, and we're having powerful phones in our arms now, our palms, right? So these are how it has evolved. How do we harness the power of all these tools, not just telephone, but all the technological tools, and apply innovation, which basically means finding new ways to solve problems or looking for alternative ways to apply these tools to solve problems in different sectors of our economy for national development. Collectively, that's what we're looking at when we talk about technology innovation for development.
Okay, so first of all, I would like us to have a context here.
That's
when
right.
you look at the Ghanaian context, where are we in terms of development of when it comes to the use or utilization of innovations and technology from where you sit?
I think from where I sit, we have come far.
Okay.
We still have a lot more to do. Again, if we're looking at comparing our states with the developed countries or even other African countries, you could see in as much as we've come far, we still have a gap ahead. In terms of Africa context, global context, we have a lot of gap ahead. And I think some of this are as a result of our predecessors and the previous generation. If we look at the internet didn't go here earlier, and it had to be some earlier visionaries who were able to pioneer internet adoption in Ghana to first bring computers and internet to Ghana. And because of that adoption, what had been very slow, it's also affecting the generation. I'm sure our parents' generation, they didn't use computer.
Yeah.
So imagine if they had used computers, then we'd have been able to train to also build upon what they have. Because they didn't have, we have to learn it. So our kids today are also smarter because they have smartphones, they have internet, they have access to content and all that. So that has been the way it has been. But we look at the Ghana context, I think we've come far in the area of education. We have STEM educations in our country to now. We have high schools that are STEM. We have ICT being elective in the senior high school. We have ICT curriculum across primary learning coding and all that. So these are also the way we have to start to catch them young, get them into technology so that when they grow up, they can become developers of it. In the area of healthcare too, I think a lot is going on. We have our zip line delivering blood during COVID time, and we have modern labs also springing forth. We have technology being used in the area of medical space as well, but a lot more can be done. In the area of e-commerce, commerce and businesses, today we have a lot of online shops, online deliveries, making movement and supply chain easier. These are all technologies in use. People can wake up tomorrow, set up their shop online without having physical infrastructure. The power of the internet is empowering every young person to be a small SMEs, right? And it's also helping more people to get into entrepreneurship because it's easy. You don't need a physical infrastructure to start. Once you have a shop online, you don't even have to even own the products. Build a shop online, build a page online, get pictures of product, upload it, get a supplier, get a deliverer, you have a business. So all these tools that we're using in all sectors, agriculture too, a lot going on there, is aiding us as a nation to adopt technology and innovation in our development. I think these are some of the sectors I'd like to touch on. But if you have specific sectors you want me to touch on, I could also show you in context. But in all, education is a basic tool. Once all the students coming up have access to computers, they can learn ICT, they can do STEM, then it's empowering them to become professionals in their area. And when they become professionals, they can end up being entrepreneurs building tech companies and businesses, or they apply technology in the field of work. Then we get to use a lot of technology. From the government perspective too, I think I see a lot happening with digitization. As you all know, we are digitizing every processes, all the agencies, and I think it's also the way to go, because if you're looking at the era we live in now, where we have everything being digitized, everything being connected, everything moving faster with AI, robotics, and all that, there's a need to ensure that all our processes, our mainstream operations are all digitized. So I think Ghana, we are on the right path. We should have started this all earlier. But nevertheless, it's better late than never.
Okay, it's better late than never.
That's right.
Mr. Opoku Ajiman is on the topic utilizing innovations and technology for development, and this is Science Chronicles. That takes me to the next question. When you look at the from your submission, you can attest to the fact that even though we seem to be doing well as a country, we still have some gaps. What are the strategies that we can use to make sure that we close the gap between the urban and the rural poor in terms of our context as a country? Yeah.
I think when it comes to bridging the gap between urbanization and the rural communities, that's the power of technology. Technology plays a very critical role. Everybody has a role to play. Policies, it means we should have good policies that would enhance the development of infrastructure in all parts of our country. If all the infrastructures happens to be in the major cities and the rural communities are not having access to basic connectivity, because if you go to some villages, you can't use a smartphone. Even my village.
Okay.
Yes, you have to.
Where do you come from?
There's a village called Kofodia in our region.
Okay.
At one town called Kasapin. It's a very long village.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to go there.
Oh, I would love to go there.
So when you get to my village, for example, you can get access to connectivity. It's only at a particular place. So for that reason, people will not be motivated to even use a smartphone. And we are not using smartphone, it means you can access all the applications and platforms and solutions that comes with it, right? So I think policy has to be one. We need to ensure that I have policies that ensure that every town, every community in the country at least have access to connectivity. It's not free, but the accessibility is very important. Then we need to also ensure that there's also people having jobs doing. Because if you don't have jobs to do, you can't connect to the internet, you can't even afford a smartphone.
And we are even talking about youth unemployment.
Yes, and all that.
If we want to get them being entrepreneurial,
that's right.
Then we should.
That's right. So basically, infrastructure, it could be in the area of connectivity, transportation, education, healthcare. Once at least all these are basic needs of every Ghanaian is accessible, then they can be able to think about developing themselves and not always moving to urban. Most of the time, people move to the urban, which I'm also an example of an urbanizer.
Yeah.
I moved from my village to Accra because I was passionate about technology. I want to learn more about technology, and I couldn't do that at the time from where I was coming from. So it needed me to move to the city. And I guess that's what most youth are also trying to do, finding environments where whatever potentials they have, they'll be able to develop it and put it to good use. Yeah.
Sure. So let me put this in. Is it true that, or what's your perception about the smartest brain goes for the occupations such as being doctors, lawyers, and it's the dumbest that go for the skilled, yeah, that's the right word, the skilled works.
Right. So I think it's a culture issue or culture effects. It's right. If you study
Is it true anyways?
Yes, it's true. On a context.
Okay.
On a context that we've been through a revolution. Our parents' generation, it was the third industrial revolution where they were trained for job. So you go to school, it train you, job is guaranteed. So all our parents that went to school, they had work. You either become a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer. Those jobs were guaranteed. Right?
The white collar jobs.
Yeah, and they didn't need a skill. You were just trained for a specific job that you're going to do. In our generation, it has changed. Learning has changed. Work has changed. Right? Our parents didn't have to learn how to use PCs, computers before they can work. Our generation, you have to, it's a skill. So even irrespective of whatever profession you have or intelligence you have, if you don't have the skill, you can still survive. And that's what I think is very important for our generation today, because it's not much about being the intelligent person, it's more of having the skill. Because we are living in a skill economy. What you can do matters more than what you've learned. Because we have a lot of first class graduates who are unemployed and a lot of students who haven't even been to university yet who have jobs, either being entrepreneurial or working with people because they have the skill, they can offer the skill. So I think in our context, in our generation, I don't really agree that the smartest brain, and the smart too can be contextualized. Smart in academics, the fact that you had first class in books or in classroom doesn't mean you're smart, right? You are book smart doesn't make you smart. And book smart cannot fix their cars when they break down. Doesn't make it smart, right? Book smart cannot fix their house when they have issues. They have to call experts with skills to come and fix it. So I think smart can be put in a context that if you're book smart, does not necessarily mean you even survive in our generation today if you don't have the right skills. Because you might not get jobs to do. And employees are looking for people who can do the work, not who can read about the work. You get it, yeah. So in our generation, things has really changed.
I love that. The generation is looking for people who can do the work. Not people who can read
about the work.
Okay, so let's move on. We want to look at how can technology be leveraged to improve healthcare delivery and access to quality healthcare services in remote and underserved communities. So we are more focusing on, or we are trying to compare and contrast.
That's right.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier on some of the innovations that are popping up in the field of health. But those happens to be in urban areas. And the rural folks get to suffer. What can we do?
It's a very challenging question, but I can share my thought on what could be done. Even in the urban communities, if you look at the ratio of patient to doctor, is very, very wide. I believe this is where we have telemedicine and all that coming in. Being able to digitize some of the knowledges, the platforms. So assuming we have one doctor in a particular community, giving them access to technology, they can serve so many patients, right? But when we move to manual, then it has to be one person to one patient, which is likely impossible. So we can build platforms like applications, systems that can help to ensure that, so for example, folder management. If it's done manually, it's going to be difficult for one person to manage all the folder of a patient in a community. If you move that into a computer with a search, a click of a button, you can find access to them. That means that one person can be able to serve over 1,000 patients when it comes to folder management. When it comes to prescription, if it's done manually, then we have to meet the person one at a time to understand their challenges. But once we digitize the whole process, with a click of a search, you can get the patient information, know what session they've had, look at their history, and be able to prescribe right drugs. So I think the digitalization is the best way to go when it comes to stuff like that. We can also look at community service. This is innovation where people get to volunteer to help, to serve their community. So as part of our public medical education and training, we could have system where people volunteer their free time to visit communities. But again, all this have to be digitized and has to be run. So from a social innovation perspective, we can build a social platform where if you're a doctor and you're on leave and you want to spend a few days with some communities outside your urban area as part of your vacation and tour, you get to also service. These are our innovations that can be applied to ensure that this thing can be addressed.
Okay.
The high tech will be having more technology, which are expensive, and these communities will not be able to afford.
Yeah.
Because we have a smart band that you put on your hand. You can monitor your vitals, your body temperature, heartbeats, hours of the number of hours you sleep, number of steps you walk in a day, and all this information can be sent to one doctor who can now analyze and advise patients on their health. But again, this all comes with cost.
Yeah. Okay. So we move on to what are the key challenges and opportunities for fostering a thriving tech, startup ecosystem in Ghana. Because I'm zeroing to you.
Right.
You are a tech startup.
That's right.
So we want to appreciate the medium